with Mr. Naps. As always, we remember that in this class, we are calm, we are creative, and we are artists. Okay, it is time for art challenge number 4. And the title of this art challenge is Wonderful Nature Wallpaper. We know that artists always start their artwork by thinking of an idea. And the idea behind this artwork is artists can be inspired by the beauty of nature. So that means that we could look to nature, look at the beautiful things like trees and flowers, and we could use those things to inspire us to create a work of art. We have a new art word today. It's something that you might not have heard of before. That art word is collagraph print. Now, an artist would create a collagraph print by using something like cardboard. For this project, and I'm using an old granola box. And we take a piece of cardboard and we cut out shapes and glue it to the cardboard, just like this. You can see my leaf right here. When you glue things on top of the cardboard, that's called creating relief. Relief just means that it's popping up a little bit. Now, traditionally, an artist would take a brayer, just this little roller right here. They would roll some ink onto that brayer and roll it on top of your collagraph plate. And then they would use that plate just like a stamp to create their work of art. Now, I know that we don't have brayers and ink pads and all of that type of stuff. So to create our artwork today, we are going to use a piece of paper, put it on top of our cardboard, take an unwrapped crayon, and rub it on top of our paper to create our artwork. Nice and easy. Now, we have an artist connection for our project today, and that artist's name is Charles Burchfield. He is one of my favorites. He's most famously known for his watercolor paintings, but he also created wallpaper. He created a ton of different wallpaper that was inspired by nature. Did you know that you could see Charles Burchfield's famous paintings right here in Buffalo, New York at the Burchfield Penny Art Center? Now, we're in this corner of my art studio today because I actually have some samples of Burchfield's wallpaper. So take a look over here. I have a couple of different pieces all framed up, hanging on the wall. And if you look closely, you can see that he was very inspired by nature. I see trees, flowers, dogwood flowers, even the night sky. Really beautiful pieces of art that could be used as wallpaper in your home. When you look closely at Charles Burchfield's paintings, it's almost as if you can hear the sounds of nature. Take a look at a couple of his paintings and listen to what I think they sound like. Okay, before we get started, we have some planning questions that I want you to think about to make your artwork more successful. The first question is, what shapes from nature are going to inspire you? Is your wallpaper going to include flowers or trees or maybe leaves? The second question I want you to think about is, what colors are you going to use? What color crayons are you going to rub on top of your collagraph print to create your artwork? Maybe colors from nature like greens, blues, or maybe you're going to use bright colors. That's totally up to you. It's time for us to get started creating this artwork. Can't wait to see what you're going to make. Okay, the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to find a piece of cardboard. Now, some ideas to find cardboard is use an old cereal box. Any type of cardboard that food comes in works out great. That's because it's a little bit thinner and easier to cut with scissors. We do not want corrugated cardboard. Now, the size of your rectangle that you're going to cut needs to be smaller than 8 inches by 10 inches. And the reason for that is so a piece of computer paper can go on top to make our crayon rubbing. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is open up my box. It usually peels right at the seam. And then I have to cut, you can see it's a nice rectangle shape right here. I have to cut off all of that extra cardboard. Okay, now that I have that cut out, you want to make sure that you save all of your extra scrap because this is how we're going to create the image on top of this piece of cardboard. So I'm just going to put this off to the side. And in our planning sheet, we had talked about deciding what kind of parts from nature you want to include in your wallpaper print. So I could, if I wanted to, take a pencil and draw out some of these shapes onto the cardboard. So I think maybe I want to focus on leaf shapes. So I take my pencil and I draw the shape that I want. After I draw out that leaf shape, I could use my scissors and cut it out. You can start to create, I would say, 8 to 10 different little nature-inspired pieces to add to your cardboard and cut them out. Okay, once you have some pieces cut out, you can start thinking about what kind of pattern you want to create for your wallpaper. So it wouldn't really make sense to just glue them all at the bottom. You really want these pieces arranged around your piece of cardboard in an interesting pattern that could be repeated. So I'm going to take all of my pieces off and I'm going to start gluing these pieces down. So I've got my glue stick. And I've got a piece of computer paper so I don't get glue all over my table. And I am going to put that down so I can put the pieces on while I'm gluing. So then I take one of my, I think I'm going to do one of these branches, put some glue all over the back here. Got to get all the ends of the branches. And then flip this over and glue it down as my first piece. Now, I want to make sure, like I said, that all those corners are all pushed down flat. Perfect. Okay, now I want to balance out that first piece by putting something up in this corner up here like this. So I take that piece, get the glue on the back, and I keep on gluing on my pieces until it's starting to look interesting. So now that all of the cardboard is attached to my rectangle, you can see I also started to layer some of those pieces of cardboard on top to create even more dimension in my collagraph plate. For this next step, we're going to need some crayons. Now, I know that we all have a bunch of crayons laying around the house, hopefully. Some of those crayons tend to break and some of the wrappers also fall off. You're going to need those crayons today. I've got a couple here that broke, but I need to take off the wrapper, so I just peel using my nail, maybe ask an adult to help you with this step. Now I am ready to create my wallpaper print. So what you're going to need is a piece of computer paper. You're going to want to try your best to center it on top of your plate. So I can check it just by going like this. And we're all set. Now I feel through my paper and I want to make sure that I'm holding down my plate so it doesn't slide around. Take that crayon, lay it on its side, give it a pinch, and I start to rub my design. You want to make sure you're pressing hard and that the paper is not sliding around, and you will start to see your image appear. It's kind of like magic. I make sure I move my hand around, holding down the paper, getting all the different pieces that you added. And what's fun is we could even add a second color on top. The best part is you can repeat this over and over again and make as many different prints as you would like. When you are all done with your prints, take a pair of scissors and cut around the outside to complete your artwork. Great job, everybody!